Here are the I Don't Work Here Lady stories for this video. Without further ado, here we go. Are you colorblind? So I live within walking distance of a ski resort that has a village. I ski, I eat, I have friends there, so I am there usually a few times a day, at minimum even when not skiing. One very busy Saturday morning, I was walking through the village saying hi to friends and employees while walking so I can meet a friend for breakfast. Don't ski on a Saturday unless that is the only day you can, and am just avoiding the rental line when I hear an "excuse me" behind me. Think nothing of it, I just keep walking along until someone grabs my shoulder. I spin around to see this really pissed off looking Karen. Now, as skiers usually know, at most mountains all employees wear the same brand of clothing. Sometimes all the same color, sometimes 2-3 different colors, depending on which department you work in. I am wearing the same brand of clothing, but not in a color at this resort. Karen, I need you to help me get my kids past this stupid rental line. They have a lesson in 20 minutes. Me, I don't work here, just walking to meet a friend for breakfast. Kay, you obviously do. I saw you talking to other people who work here. Me, I am here a lot, so obviously I know people here, but I do not work here. I know you do. You are wearing clothing brand just like everyone else. Grabs me, come help my kids. Me pulling away, get your hands off me, bitch. I do not work here. Find anyone who does, but I doubt anyone would want to help a bee like you. It's your fault that you got here so late, no one else's. Walking away. Kay, I am going to find the manager and get you fired, you effing a-hole. Me, good luck with that. I will be at restaurant if you want to humiliate yourself further. Everyone in line was looking at her. I walk off towards my destination and run into a friend who works at the mountain, rushing in that direction. Me, hey F, what's going on over there? Sounds like someone's pissed off. Yeah, some woman thought I worked here and went off on how she is going to get me fired because I won't help her. I'm sure she will be looking for a manager. I would avoid her at all costs. F, probably a good idea. Let a boss deal. Friend heads back to where he is supposed to be, handing out trial maps and answering questions. About 300 feet from lady. I head in and get 2 bar stools for me and my buddy. We get coffee and breakfast and are catching up. About 30 minutes after sitting down while we are eating breakfast, I hear, "Over there, that's him." Karen comes over, grabs my shoulder again and spins my bar stool, spilling the coffee I'm drinking all over mine and my friend's breakfast. She's there with the manager of security, MS, whose kids happen to be besties with my middle kid. Kay, this is the rude a-hole who wouldn't help me. You need to get him fired. Me, staring daggers straight into her eyes. Wait for it, I did actually say this. MS, he doesn't work here, he lives here. Kay, well, you should ban him for being so rude and calling me a bitch. Me, if the shoe fits, you are the one who should be banned from here. You have grabbed me 3 times now. The 3rd time, you ruined mine and my friend's breakfast. You really are a bitch. That totally set her off. She was spouting that she was here on vacation and deserved respect for all the money she was spending for her family. MS, now we don't like to ban people here. This is a place where everyone should be having fun. Now if you pay to replace the breakfast and calmly leave, we can all just go about our days. This guy is super chill. Okay, there's no way I'm paying anything for someone who called me a bitch. MS, okay, I am going to have asked you to leave our property immediately. Okay, I can't do that. I have to wait for my husband and kids to finish skiing. MS, that is not an option. You need to leave now. This is private property. This is not private property and I am not leaving. MS moves dial on radio. I need you to come to restaurant. Okay, oh, are you calling some buddies? I see how all of this works. You are all just friends here, aren't you? You just all hate tourists. I pay your salary. In walk 2 of the local chefs, deputies, SD. They always have a couple at the mountain on the weekends in case of accidents, drunks, etc. They are not usually needed this early in the morning. They walk up to MS and he begins explaining the story. Okay, They are all lying. They are all friends and just protecting each other. Bartender, I saw her grab him. You can also watch it on the pointing security camera if you want. SD, you grabbed him? I only grabbed his shoulder to get his attention. Me, 3 times, with a total shit-eating grin on my face. SD, grabbing someone with intent is assault. Would you like to press charges? Me, actually, yes I would. Karen starts screeching as they grab her and cuff her up. Luckily, she didn't put up too much of a fuss. I was going to decide to drop the charges after I watched her get perp walked through the village. So with bartender holding our seats and the kitchen remaking our breakfast, which would be 15-20 minutes, my buddy and I followed the 2 sheriffs and Karen getting walked in cuffs through the village with thousands of people watching. Busy weekends, we would get at least 10,000 skiers boarders. The restaurant and where the sheriffs park and on almost opposite ends, so we had to pass the rental shop. Cue new character. Cool Dad. Cool Dad. You are the guy from earlier. What happened? I explained the situation and told him I was waiting until she was in the sheriff's SUV to tell the sheriff I had changed my mind on pressing charges. I told him she really needed a lesson and hopefully this would be a good one. He asked where I was going to be after he got his kids to their lesson late, we told him. I walked over and let the sheriff know I changed my mind and would not be pressing charges, and anything else is between him and MS. Buddy and I headed back to the restaurant, and shortly afterwards, Cool Dad shows up. Cool Dad, I cannot apologize enough for my wife. When one little thing does not go right, the world has to pay. Not just me, my kids, but the whole world. Do you guys want a drink or a shot? I sure as hell need one. Turns out, Karen doesn't even like skiing and just sits reading a book while he and his 2 kids ski, but always insist on coming to the mountain. The reason Karen was on the warpath and they were late to the mountain, she couldn't find her favorite hat at the condo that morning. Ran into him and his kids later that week and did some laps with them, and they took me and 2 of my kids to lunch, whose family was cool except for Karen. Excuse me, hey you, don't you work here? ED entitled Dad, EB entitled Brat. For context, I'm trans, FTM, female to male, and have just recently come out to my family. Before this, my clothes were tomboyish, but I never dared to buy something from the boys section for fear of what people might think. I cut my hair a few months back and I think I passed pretty well. This story happens in a clothes store where I am finally able to buy clothes from the boys section. If you know me, you know I hate clothes shopping and just shopping in general, so I plan to get in and out of there as quickly as possible. The uniform here is grey polo shirt, black trousers and smart black shoes. I am wearing a camo hoodie with black joggers and dirty black trainers, looking nothing like an employee and evidently not an adult. Going up the escalator, I noticed that there are 2 people in the section I'm about to go into, ED and EB. As someone with social anxiety, having people there makes me anxious, but I remind myself that they are just here to shop and will just mind their own business. Or so I thought. Entitled Dad talking to Entitled Brat, what size are you? You need this shirt. How am I supposed to know? I just want to get out of here and go to McDonald's. Entitled Dad, you have to know. He takes several sizes from the rack. We're going to the changing room and you're trying these on. They leave. I hope for good. I take a good look at the racks and find a shirt that I like and some shorts. I measure the shirt up against me, trying to find a size that fits. I see them come back, but just ignore them as I'm not in anyone's way and I don't want to deal with entitled people today. Edie frustratedly shoves the shirt back and in a raised tone says, "Excuse me, girl." I doubt he's talking to me since I'm not a girl and I obviously don't work here. He's probably just harassing some poor employee. Little did I know I was the poor employee. Edie again, louder. "Hey you, do you work here?" I again ignore him since I do not work here. Entitled Brad runs over to me and grabs my arm. I obviously remove my arm, not wanting Entitled Brad germs on me. EB glares at me. "You work here, so do your job and help us." I freeze and I just stare at them. Are you even listening to me? Are you deaf? I don't get why they hire people like you. Me, I'm sorry, but I don't work here, and no, I'm not deaf. Entitled Dad's face changes a little into a sort of oh shit expression, but still continues, well, if you don't work here, why are you in the boys section? I was confused for a second, but then it hit me. My heart sank and I felt like shit. Me, I'm a boy and I'm too young to work here. I'm just a customer, but I can help you find an employee to help you. He stares at me for a second, looking me up and down. Then, without any apology, walks off with his son. Safe to say, I got out of there as fast as I could and felt uncomfortable and dysphoric for the rest of the day, but still found a nice t shirt, which I guess is a bonus. Lady grabs me by the collar in Walmart. I worked at PetSmart during most of my undergraduate degree. We were in a strip mall type area, as most are, which ended with our store pretty much right in a massive Walmart parking lot. This was great when we needed supplies like Sharpies for writing codes on the fish bags or something like that. It wasn't uncommon that I would run over on my break to buy an energy drink or lunch or something for the store. On this day in 2012, I was being really dumb. It was finals week and I was running on 2 hours of sleep for the last 5 days in a row, completely on autopilot. Our uniform at the time was khaki pants and a light blue collar shirt with PetSmart on the back in huge red letters. We also had just gotten headsets. I went over to pick up a small whiteboard for my department and completely forgot to not only take off my work shirt, but my headset as well. I tried to stuff it in my pocket as best as I could, but anyone knows ladies' dress pants knows that was not happening. But I was already in the store by the time I realized, so I decided to rush and hope it would be okay. So I'm crouched down, digging through the cheap whiteboards on the bottom shelf, trying to find one that isn't broken, and suddenly I'm knocked on my ass. This woman grabbed my collar right above the big PetSmart logo and had pulled me over. I turned to look at her and said, "Excuse me, are you alright?" My retail brain was still on and I almost maybe thought she grabbed me to keep from falling or something. I don't know. I was pretty out of it. She starts shouting about the lack of good employees these days. She was maybe in her 60s, small-framed and loud. This is when I realized and I said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't work here actually." I pointed at the logo on my back. She goes off about how I'm clearly a manager, pointing at my headset. By now, I'm clutching my whiteboard and trying to leave. I again apologized, said, "No, I work at the pet store across the way," and pointed at the small logo on my name tag. I think she took this to mean I worked at the pet department in the Walmart. After a couple of minutes of arguing, while I backed away and managed to make it halfway to the register, she asked for my manager. I told her, "His name is Steven. He works at PetSmart. If you go over there, you can talk to him." I thought she got it finally because she stormed off. I paid for my things and went back across the way. It wasn't until an hour later, but she came in. She asked the cashier for the manager while I spied from a couple of aisles over. She actually tried to make a complaint about me not helping her at our sister store. My manager essentially laughed her off and told her he couldn't do anything about what I did on my bricks. She left threatening to call corporate, but I never heard anything. I can only assume she called Walmart corporate to make the complaint. So those were the stories for today's video. If you enjoyed this video, a like will be highly appreciated. It really does help my channel out. Also, if you enjoyed this and want to stay up to date on the latest videos, then don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for listening, and I will see you in the next video.